Hello and welcome to the Real Talk. How's your day so far? Thank you so much for making time to join us. We're coming from Mythos Boutique Hotel in Kiyovu. Atmosphere Restaurant almost done being renovated, so you should pay them a visit. I know there's a big launch coming up soon. Today's guest is an amazing gentleman, somebody that I first watched on TV, fell in love with his work, his personality. He's incredible. And I do hope that his long career journey, not so long, I'm not interviewing a 78-year-old, not so long, but I'm sure that his career journey, his experience will inspire you. If you're into filmography, this should be your conversation. If you aspire to produce content from Rwanda that will be sold to the world, I have a feeling this conversation will give you tips on how we can get that done. You're meeting the guest in a bit. Welcome to the Real Talk. Our guest is Philip Karanja, aka Phil Director.
Yes.
Phil, it is such a pleasure to have you on the show.
Thank you for inviting me and
Oh,
welcoming
gosh.
me to Kigali.
Yes, thanks for
Yes.
honoring our invitation.
Mhm.
What's your impression of Kigali so far?
I mean, you hit the streets, the first thing is it's so clean. This place is so clean and green
Yeah.
and no traffic. Nairobi
Oh.
traffic will humble
You
you.
can talk about Nairobi traffic.
Yes, and,
Yeah.
and so much order and discipline, and
Yeah.
it's just impressive. I think you come to Kigali and you're like, wait, this is normal. What is this craziness we live in? This is
Yeah.
normal.
And then to imagine that it's next door.
I know.
Yeah, it
I
even
know.
bothers you. Like, why
Yes.
don't we have this?
Yeah, and I am so lucky I have come when there's good weather. So I've been here for about a week and I've
Yeah.
really enjoyed the weather.
Beautiful. Any places that you've been to already?
I mean, you step into Kigali, the first stop is always the memorial.
Yes, the Genocide Memorial.
Yes,
You
the
went
Genocide
there.
Memorial. I've been downtown. I have
Lovely.
been.
Have you been to Nyamirambo?
Oh no! Yes. No. I was actually. I think I'm going after
There's
this.
Nyamirambo, there's Video Go.
Yes, and then I like
Wow.
discovering the food. So I've gone
Yes.
to very authentic African Rwandese food
love
places.
that. Yeah.
Yeah. I've also
Oh.
been to a few clubs and restaurants.
Oh, nice. You've discovered the nightlife,
Eh,
huh?
eh, 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 oh,
Yeah.
yeah, the girls in Rwanda.
Eh,
Way.
the girls, they disturbed you a little bit, eh?
Way.
You've seen Rwanda.
I've seen Rwanda.
And I'm sure you will come back.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
Phil, I have been a great admirer of your work, and it's such an honor for me to be able to present you to my Rwandan audience specifically, because I believe there's so much that we all can learn from you.
Oh, thank you.
I want us to go to the place where your artsy side started. You grew up in this family of 5 siblings, you and your sisters, and they all were looking at you thinking, you're not getting A's like your siblings, and here you are telling us you want to be an artist,
Yeah.
you want to do art. What is that? Does it even pay? If you just give us a little bit of that and how your family perceived art, which is something that you're passionate about.
I think my story is not different to a lot of artist story in Africa. In Africa, unfortunately, anything artsy or creative has always been looked at as a hobby, as something you pass time with. And so it was not different with my family as well. I was artistic. I remember from as far back as we used to call it standard 2 or grade 2, depending on where you come from. I was sketching matatus, those are public transport vehicles, and selling them to other kids. Like I started making money from I was a little boy with just my skill and talent. And so yes, my entire life I have been the artist. Now for my parents, like, you can't make a career out of this. What is this you're doing? So they of course wanted me to get really good grades in school, go to university, study some white collar career path like law or engineering.
Yes, medicine.
Yes, and because of that, that's why I'm so passionate about not just the film side, but also the business side, because I strongly believe the day that we bring the business and the money to film and television and the creative arts, and we build $1 billion company industries, then people will start respecting us. They'll start respecting the creatives and the arts like any other
How do
profession.
we achieve that, though? What's that intersection? If you can just explain that to us, how do you bring money to it? Business side.
It's us as creatives starting to think like business people. Because if you ask me, I believe entertainment and the cultural and creative industries contribute more to the GDP of any country than any other ministry. I'll give an example of Kenya. I think entertainment and the creative industry contributes to almost about 10% of the GDP of our economy. Tourism contributes only about 2%, but there's a whole ministry of tourism.
Yes.
There's no ministry for purely just arts and creativity. So that's my thinking. So it's just now thinking like business people, converting this impact that we have on the creative side into numbers that now financial bodies like IFC and the banks and everyone can invest in.
Yeah.
Like in Nairobi, we have so many developments of malls, and a lot of these malls, are not fully packed, but we are not building arenas like the Kigali Convention Center.
You're right.
But there's such a huge demand in Nairobi right now. We don't have venues. And this is what I'm saying. Like, I want the billionaires and the rich people and the big financial institutions to see how much need we have for big time investments and how the return on investment on that particular investment will be higher, much higher than building a mall. Yes.
For me, what's amazing is I first saw you as an actor in Tidy High.
Yes.
I know some of my viewers have seen you on TV before,
Right.
on Tidy High. And how did you transition from being this young man, because Tidy High was our East African version of high school Hollywood movies.
Yes, yes.
So how did you come from that to being at the CEO forum addressing thousands of global leaders? How did you get there?
I dream big. I am not shy to say that. And even coming to the African CEO Forum, I was like, what I thought I dream big is just really minuscule. I need to dream bigger. And so, right from when I started off my career as an actor, I knew acting was not it for me. My goal then was to get to a point where I can direct my own TV shows. I got to that point. After that, it was I want to own my own production companies or company where I can do stories my way instead of working for someone. I did that. I opened a production company. We got the TV shows. We were doing well. And then I realized, oh, wait, there's passion and creativity. And then there's business. And this world of business, I know nothing about. So now, I started transitioning myself to not just being a director for a production company, but being a proper businessman, understanding money, understanding the way money works, and understanding how I can scale my production company to global heights. And so now I'm on that journey, and that's where my podcast, Becoming CEO, started from, because I'm literally learning how to be a CEO and how to grow this, boutique production company into a global house. And yes, so it's been a journey. It's been about 2 decades now.
Wow.
Yes.
Yeah. Let's go back to where it started then. You started acting at KIMC where you were studying film.
Yes.
And then a producer spotted you.
Right.
When you got on the set of Tidy High, you started nagging the producer. You wanted to do more. That is such a quality that a lot of us don't have.
Yeah.
When you get into a place, you get comfortable, but you were asking for more. At that time, what is it that you were seeing as your future? And then if you can also just take us through the process, how you ended up on that set and
Right.
how your life was at that time.
I mean, I was always active at the Kenya National Drama Festivals for school. So I'm in college. I'm still performing for Kenya National Drama Festivals. And at the provincials, at the Nairobi provincial level, Abel and myself won. And the assistant director then for Tahidi High was in the audience, and he was like, you know what? This was on a Sunday. Tomorrow, Monday morning, 6 a.m., be at the Kenya National Theatre. We are auditioning for a show called Tahidi High. So that's what we did. And it was pretty easy because he had already seen what we could do on stage. So he knew we are good actors. And so that's how we got into Tahidi High. Now, remember, at this point, I'm in film school. So my goal is to end up being a producer and director. So acting for me was a means to an end. I got in as an actor, but I was very clear. I want to end up directing this show. And so I started off as a production assistant, a runner. You know, that guy who kimbilia maji, you know, go get this, go get this. That's where I started from. And I grew step by step. And by the time I was leaving the show in 2014, beginning of 2014, I was directing full episodes. Like the producer trusted me enough to direct full episodes. Yeah.
Yeah, that's beautiful. When did you do your first production? So away from
Right. So after Tahidi, because we did Tahidi High and Mother-in-Law, they were under the same producer at Citizen. So now when I felt I was ready to direct my own show from scratch, I was called in by a production company called Protel Studios. They were starting a new show and they were looking for a director. So now this was a show I was building from scratch, from zero as a director. It was called The Real Households of Kawangware. And that's where Njugush and DJ Shiti were born as creatives. And it went on to have it gained a lot of success.
I watched a bit of it
Yes,
as well.
so we did 2 years of that. I directed 104 episodes, and at that point I was like, you know what? Now I think we are at a point where we can open our own company and do our own shows. And it just so happened that the Real Households of Kawangware had been sold for a second run on Mnet's Maisha Magic East, and it was doing really well there. So at that point, Mnet's Maisha Magic East, they were looking to start doing local productions, and so they started making calls. They're like, who are the people behind the Real Households of Kawangware? And so they called us in. They were like, we have this show. It's called Hula Balu Estate. It's a concept by some of Kenyan legends, the Makoha, Alexander, Ondiek, guys who
Yes,
had been on Vioja Mahakamani,
I remember
and
them.
they're looking for a production company that can help produce it. We were like, we're game, comedy is our thing, and Hula Balu Estate has been the longest running show on Maisha Magic East. To
It
date,
still runs
it's
until
still,
today.
yes, this is 8 years later, and it's still getting a lot of good numbers. But that thing of always being ready, by the time they called me to ask me to produce that show for them, I was already walking around with my pilot show, a show called Suna Johnny. I had shot the pilot like 1.5 years before. I'd pitched it to them then, but I don't know, for some reason they didn't believe in it. Um, but when they called us in for that Hula Baloo meeting before I left, I was like, there's another concept here. I will do this for you.
But I would love you to have a look at this.
Yes, have a look at this. This is an original concept from Philip Productions. They watched it. The next day they called. They're like, Philip, come and pitch this show. And that was it. And that's how I ended up with 2 shows on Mnet.
Wow.
Yeah.
One under your name, 100%,
Yes.
and the other one you.
Yeah.
You know, for young people, a lot of young people, starting off a business is bothersome. And they will say, we need money to do that. I wonder how much it took to start Philip production if you did it slowly by slowly. And I know I've landed on that story somewhere.
Yeah.
You'd buy a light here, you'd buy the other thing. You can just take us through that for the benefit of the young people. Somebody who is in a place and they're saying, I want to start on my own. I don't know how.
So I don't know if it's a known fact, but when we opened our company back in 2012, we got our first job in 2016. Those are 4 years of actively looking for work as a company and you're not getting any. So people don't see that part of business. So in these 4 years, we were still getting jobs as individuals. Abel would be called here, I'd be called here. We do, but not as a company. We had not locked a contract as a company. And that's the true nature of business. There are businesses you can open today and tomorrow they're running pretty quick. There's some that just take time. So in those 4 years, we were not just sitting. We were like, we need to prepare for the day we get a contract. So we started off by buying lights. I think by the time we got the first contract, we had like 3 lights. And yeah, so how we funded the show pretty much was out of pocket when you're starting. But our first shows were commissioned projects, which means
Somebody put in money, yeah?
yes, the
After the
Mnet,
4 years.
yeah, after 4 years. So
After 4
Mnet
years.
puts the money, and yeah, you produce for them basically. So they own the rights for the show. Yeah, that's how we started, slowly by slowly. To date, honestly, I'd honestly say I have never paid myself well with Philip, because every revenue that we get, we
Goes
reinvest.
back.
We reinvest, and film equipment is super expensive. The worst part is, I think every 4 or 5 years, you have to redo
You've
your
got to buy
inventory.
everything else because there's upgrades, huh?
Technology is moving
Oh, man.
so fast, so fast. Yeah.
When would you say the breakthrough came? Like the very first big thing. I know you've not paid yourself yet
Yeah.
so far, but what made you satisfied that, finally we've done something with Feel It and it has been felt?
When you first get those Mnet shows, you think this is it. Life has changed for me. That's it. I've made it. But you quickly realize that, oh my goodness, if client is giving you a budget that's up to here, what they're asking for is right here. And that is what set me on this path of now starting to learn business, because we did Mnet shows for like 2 years, and we're just making losses, and I'm not understanding what we're doing wrong. And so now I was like, actually in 2018, I was like, you know what? I'm not going back on set as a director. I'm going to now take over the mantle of the company as a CEO and understand what we are doing wrong, understand the business. And so there's no one moment where I have felt, we've done like something massive. You don't notice the progress, but every little thing that you do piles up, piles up, piles up. So from there, we started structuring Feel It much better now, because I took control of now running a company. And so now the show started making sense. And from there, we started toying with the idea, because now I started now understanding things like business models. And I soon realized our business model was built on selling to clients. And at this point, we only had one client, that was Mnet. So the question comes in, what if Mnet was to close down today?
What happens to us?
What happens to us? And so now I started learning this. There's another business model called B2C, business to consumer. So I started toying with the idea of how do we sell our products directly to consumers. And that's how Feel It TV was born. We built our own video on demand platform, something like Netflix or Showmax, where we put our films there and we sell directly to Kenyans. And that's something that has really worked well, and we're hoping to scale up. So we're still working with Showmax and Mnet, but we're just diversifying our portfolio and our shop, so that our shop is not just selling to one client. We have multiple clients we can sell to. And as we got into that space, of course, COVID hit, and what happened is now everyone went online, like in crazy droves. And so now we're seeing there's a whole new other opportunity online. A lot of the money has gone online. So TV, as we know it, cable and pay TV is on a slow decline, because everyone is on YouTube, Facebook. And so you now start thinking, as a production company, now we need to start having products for the online community. And that's where, for Abel Mkurugenzi is born from. For Philip, it's becoming CEO. Because the world we are living in, the money goes where there's attention. So you need to grab attention. As long as you have attention, then everyone comes to you.
Welcome back. This is The Real Talk. My name is Jackie Lumbasi, and our guest is Philip Karanja. Phil, director, is a film lover. He's a filmmaker, and a man that I have no doubt you're going to learn from as far as business is concerned. Phil, so COVID came, everyone moved to online platforms.
Right.
And you guys moved there, and you don't look like you're planning to come back at all. If you can just describe that for us, because I feel like you are earning from a platform that even as a Rwandan content creator, I could earn, but there's a difference. There's something clearly you're doing that I am not doing. So if you can just educate me and educate my viewers on how we can leverage.
Oh, absolutely. I think let me start with a question. In Rwanda, are you able to monetize YouTube? Are there people earning from YouTube? Because when I come into a new space, I go direct to the content creators in the space. And so I came upon this YouTube channel. Of course, I can't remember the name. Kinyarwanda is hard.
Oh, it's hard.
Yeah, it's hard. And
Isimbi TV.
that's the one. That's the one. That's the one.
Isimbi TV is also big.
Yeah.
Kigali Today has a big platform as well. Yes.
TV. So I don't
So
know.
the monetization bit,
Yeah.
I think, does YouTube pay you as a Kenyan content creator directly?
Yes,
So I don't think that happens in Rwanda.
Why?
From what I have heard, I have not.
Yeah, because
I've
I had
asked
the
a few-
same thing.
You had the same thing, yes.
Yeah.
So I've been told that YouTube does not pay, so it's not monetized in Rwanda. I'll find out why. We'll talk to maybe Rura and other people to find out why. But then when you talk about Isimbi TV and Yago, such people could get maybe money from advertisers on their platform.
Now you're already answering my question.
I'm already answering.
So
yes.
this is the way in our world, the entertainment world, this is the trajectory that is taking place. Before, we used to have TV stations, and TV stations will have the eyeballs, and then the corporates will go and advertise the TV stations, and then we, the creatives, will go to the TV stations and do a show for them. And so from the advertising revenue, they pay us. Okay? And so what is happening is TV stations are losing the eyeballs. Where are the eyeballs? The phone. In 2015, a shift happened. Human beings, the first screen they interact with became the phone. Before 2015, it was either, I think it was the computer. Before the computer, it was the TV. From 2015, you wake up, the first thing you look at,
Is the phone.
you're getting ready to go to work. You're driving to work or you're going to work, you're on your phone. You get to work, there's a computer here, but you're on your phone.
The last thing you will look at before you sleep.
Your phone. And so money goes where the eyeballs are, where the attention is. And so, believe it or not, the landscape is changing. It was easy for me to go and get X number of millions from one TV station because all the advertisers went there. Now, what has happened is anyone can advertise. Even I, with my small shop, I can advertise on Google Ads. So, in fact, right now, more than ever in the world, there's more money in the marketing space than ever before. The problem is the money is everywhere.
Oh, man.
And so the genius of it is, how do you structure yourself, position yourself so that you convert all this money to you? And the idea is you will not make 1 million or 10 million Kenya shillings or Rwandan francs from one source. That is gone. So you do content, for example, your show right here. You do it for RwandaTV. So you earn from RwandaTV. Then you take the same show, put it on YouTube. If YouTube starts monetizing, you again earn from YouTube. And then because all the eyeballs are on you, the corporates now will come and advertise on your show. So that's revenue number 3.
Yes, that's
as you are consistent with your content, Jack is becoming a brand. So now There are people who don't want to advertise on your show. They want to work with you as a personality. So now you start getting paid as an influencer online for products. Then we realize, oh, wait, Jackie hosts really well. So I think she can moderate panels. So now that's another revenue source. Then you moderate panels and they realize, oh, she's really good. She has a powerful voice. Maybe she can be an MC. Revenue number 6, and then you're like, oh, she knows how to package guests and she communicates well. Maybe she can do PR for our company. Number 7, or maybe she can write. And so before you'd go to one TV station and get the 10 million, but now you're getting maybe $1 million from 10 different sources.
10 different sources.
Yes.
Incredible.
It means we have to work 10 times as hard.
Yes, I was going to say that. It means you've got to work really hard.
Yes.
You are among the first people to be paid for appearing at events.
Yes.
I want you to just share a little bit of what it took to build that personal brand that would actually pay you. I ask that because sometimes people say when you're too available, then you devalue yourself, you lose value. Others say, oh, when you overcharge, then you attract a certain client base because people don't want a very cheap person. So if you can just tell us about personal branding and that kind of brand that we can earn from.
Personal branding, it's interesting. It's a conversation I'm being dragged into a lot now. And I feel like I am one of the last people to actually build a brand amongst my peers and my friends, because a lot of them just started way earlier than I did. I'm just getting into the space. And I define personal branding as what people say about you when you're not in the room. How do they carry you? So it's how you carry yourself.
Not when I'm in their presence.
No, not when you're in their presence. And they determine the value. Because how you walk, maybe, branding is everything from how you dress, how you smell, how you talk, how available you make yourself. And so out there, people will either say, Jack is an expensive brand or she's a mass market brand, and they'll approach you that way. And for me, because I was very clear, I am converting myself into a business leader, a thought leader in the entertainment space. I needed to look and dress and sound a certain way, and that's why I came up with becoming CEO. I could have done very many other concepts, but I wanted to attract the CEOs, the corporates. I wanted to understand brands from someone running a multinational conglomerate across Africa. So for me to attract that particular level of CEO, I need to look
a certain way.
Yeah. Yes, and that's why I went with the whole brand of becoming CEO. So branding. So I think look at yourself inward and see who you are as a person. Are you a people person? Are you an introvert? Are you an extrovert? Are you a hyper person? Are you, chilled? Then which side of the market do you want to go to? Do you want the premium exclusive side where you probably only get 2 or 3 gigs in a year, but they pay really well? Or do you want to appeal to the mass market, and here you get multiple jobs consistently?
You could be busy throughout the year.
You could be busy throughout the year. Do you want to be known as someone who runs a gossip blog? And so, then that will also bring its own clientele. Do you want to be known as a party animal? And that will bring its own clientele. So look for something that's closer to who you are as a brand.
Yeah. How seriously should we take content creation? This, as the Rwandan society, we have tried to do something online. So Kinyarwanda is our national language. Then we've got English as our official language. The biggest audience online in Rwanda will be consuming Kinyarwanda content.
Yes.
And I feel like that has hindered us from developing English content. in my opinion, it has, in a way, the language barrier. But there's need for us to do content in English to market ourselves and market the country and all. But I just want you to tell me, how serious should we take content creation? Because some point you talked to them about content creation and they're thinking it's easy. I'll just do for you a video. But you earlier on you looked around and said it's expensive.
Oh my goodness, it's expensive. Like right now, you have 3 cameras in the room. These are Sony XD cams. I think the three combined, y- when they're new, you'd probably have spent like maybe around 4 million Kenya shillings. I'm looking at the tripods. I'm seeing Katoni, Vinton, Katoni. These are very expensive tripods. Just looking in the room, in Kenya shillings, you've probably spent close to 4 or 5 million, just looking at everything. So it's not cheap. Content creation is not cheap at all. YouTube, I think the last year distributed, I think something to the tune of 31 billion US dollars to content creators in 1 year.
31 billion.
Yes, and in Africa we have just started. I know in Kenya Instagram and Facebook is about to start monetizing in July, and this is of course a huge push from our president, and for that I big him up. YouTube is paying. TikTok, I think in the next 1 year or 2 years, will also start monetizing. Twitter is already monetizing. So those are 5 platforms that are about to start paying content creators billions of dollars. If you have not started content now, I don't know what you're waiting for.
Oh, goodness.
It's about to be a very happy place. I'll quote another gentleman. He's Indian. He has a very hard name, but he was the man who led. He was the man who led in financing Facebook when it started. He was the VC, venture capitalist, and he was speaking on a podcast, and he was saying there have been 3 phases to this whole tech world. The first billionaires were the guys who made the hardwares, the IBMs, the Bill Gates, the Microsoft. The second wave of billionaires were the guys who built social media apps, the Mark
Facebook,
Zuckerberg,
Mark
and Elon with Tesla and X and everything. And he's saying the third phase of dollar billionaires are going to be the content creators. Basically, I'm saying the next wave of very rich people are going to be content creators.
So the sooner we cannot afford to take it lightly.
No.
If it means investing in a good camera, good microphone, do it.
Do it now. And that's the thing. I love the word that you've used, investing. Becoming CEO has not started paying me yet. I am still at the phase of investing. Me coming to the African CEO Forum, I'm not being paid by anyone to come for the African CEO Forum. I am investing because I need to meet the right people to position myself. One day I want to be on that stage at the African CEO Forum. So I need to start coming now and get myself known, Yeah. So it's and investing takes a couple of years. But once it starts paying, you're set for life.
That's amazing. It's good to say that, because we also have a tendency of wanting things to pay off quickly. You want to start off a YouTube channel and start earning in 6 months or 3 months with 3 shows.
I can tell you, and it's a lot of work. There are Kenyans who earn really good money from YouTube alone. But if you look at how much content they produce, if you want to earn good money on YouTube, you're doing probably a minimum of 3 shows in a week. And these 3 shows have a lot of views and you have a lot of subscribers. Like what you're doing now?
Yes.
3 interviews in a week.
Oh, goodness.
Yes. And these interviews, they're gaining hundreds of thousands of views. Yes. So
it's not an
easy
job.
But now Kenyans, when it comes to hustling and when they figure out there's money, I know YouTubers who will even drop 8 videos in a day.
What?
Yes. But they make millions of shillings in a month. They're living.
Give us an idea of, for example, the highest earning YouTube person in Kenya even if you don't give us their name, I'm sure you might have some insights. If you could just tell us roughly
Yeah.
how many shows they put on their platform and
Yeah.
how much they earn from YouTube, and probably an estimate of how much they earn from people that advertise on that YouTube platform of theirs.
Oof.
If you just have a figure.
Of course, I wouldn't have exact figures because that's their channel.
That's true. But
Yeah,
estimates.
but estimates, I know a couple of content creators on YouTube who will do 3 to 4 shows in a week, and their take home from YouTube alone is anywhere between 1 million shillings to 3 million shillings a month. Yes, and this is purely off YouTube. Now, in terms of advertising, I don't even know because
yes,
yeah, I
it would
wouldn't know
definitely be
what their
much
contracts
more.
look like. This is interesting. The conversation about content, and that's why I tell people, you just start. Believe it or not, for the longest time, the highest earning Kenyan on YouTube, she's not even based in Kenya. Guess what content she does? She teaches kids how to unwrap sweets.
No way.
Not even kidding.
No
Just
way.
go, I forget her name, but just go on YouTube and search for how to unwrap a lollipop.
Imagine.
And it gets millions of views. There's someone who's done content, how to drink water.
And it's got millions of views.
So I also tell people, when it comes to content, don't overthink it.
Yes.
So that Kenyan has been one of the highest earning. One, simply because she's, I think, based in the US, and so the CPM, the rate that they pay for YouTube, if you're based in the US, is much higher than in Africa. But yeah, that's
interesting. I didn't know that.
yeah.
Rate
So she
varies.
does content around candy and sweets.
Imagine.
And she gets millions of views.
Phil, based on becoming CEO and your interaction with a lot of CEOs, for the young person that is watching, they want to grow. What are those attributes that will help them get there? They want to become a CEO. What is it they need to do as a habit? What are those things they need to inculcate in their daily lives today in order to become CEO? From all you've learned from others and your own experience.
It's a mix of innovation, strategic planning, and entrepreneurship skills. Innovation comes from whatever idea you have. It's not unique. There are very many people probably doing what you're doing, whether it's content, whether it's building a product like this, So you need to give that service or that product some unique quality, an X factor, and that's innovation is key. There's nothing that you're selling to the market that's unique, so you need to innovate and come up with a special product that stands out from the rest. Strategic planning, it's understanding that if I'm designing this cup, then how do I get this cup to the market? How do I build a community of people who just loves cups? That's strategic planning. So before you even start building this product, maybe start posting about cups online, and all of a sudden you have this massive following that appreciates cups. And so you have to figure out, how do I get this community? And once you've gotten the community, then how do I build an MVP? An MVP is a minimum viable product. Before you get to the best level of this cup that it can be, you build a viable product, sell it to them, then learn from their feedback, take their feedback now, and go now, use that feedback and mass produce, because you already have a community. So there's distribution there and marketing and everything. So that's strategic planning. Entrepreneurship skills, these are like things like knowing money. How do I get a line of credit? How do I finance making this product or this whatever skill and service? Who do I talk to? How do I manage and run the company so that even if I'm not there, the company is still running? So yes,
that's important.
A mix of those three things.
Yeah. So you haven't worked alone. You
no.
identified somebody that you went into a partnership with. Why don't you tell us about that partnership that
Alright.
you decided on very many years ago? What did you consider when choosing Abel as a business partner? But also the kind of team that you were. How big is your team at Phillips Production?
For permanent staff, I have about 12 permanent staff because a lot of the projects we work on are seasonal projects. But when I'm on a project, depending on the project, I might work with anywhere between 80 to 300 people. Yeah, so there's a film we did that's on Netflix, Click Click Bang. That one, by the end of the project, I think we had worked with over 300 people. A lot of the TV shows we do, if you count everyone that we work with, from the crew to the actors and everyone, more than 100 people.
Wow.
Yeah.
What were you looking for when you're looking for
So with
a business partner?
yeah,
What qualities?
so with Abel, I'd say, you know, because we met in film school, so let's start from there. We both love film, so that was very important. And then we both had almost a similar upbringing. I grew up in one side of the of Eastlands, and he grew up on another side. I grew up in Dandora. I grew up in Kibera. So even the stories that we told were related to each other, related and were relatable. And we were like, you know what? On Kenyan TV at that point, there was no one who was sounding like us. Believe it or not, people were not speaking in Sheng on Kenyan TV. So people were either doing proper English or proper Kiswahili. And that is not.
That was not you.
If you go to Nairobi, no one speaks proper English or proper Swahili. It's a Swanglish. It's a mix of both.
Yeah.
So even when we went to Tahiti, we immediately started just speaking in Sheng on the show, and it changed the whole trajectory of the show. Yeah, so I think we were
So it was
aligned.
just, yeah, you are aligned.
We were aligned. So I
your
must
worlds
say
are
I
just
was very
connected.
lucky. But now in terms of the people I work with, again, very, very strategic. I have learned that this corporate world, this corporate speak, I don't understand it. You know, this how corporates and there's a language they use. So I have a business development partner who helps me in that regard, you know, curating proposals and pitching, and you know, for me, I just show up.
That's nice. That's cool.
Yeah.
What you don't know, you find someone who's good
Absolutely, absolutely. That's something as a leader, as a CEO, you have to be good at, which is delegating. You just have to understand you can't do everything by yourself. So I think the best skill as a CEO is knowing how to hire the right people. And for me, I always go for people who are more intelligent than me, people who know better than I do. And then, of course, there are other virtues and values that you look at and you're like, I think we align on this. So I have people someone who we partner with for financial modeling. So anything finances, looking for investors, is someone handling that. I have an overview of what I want, but there's someone.
The finer
Yeah, the finer
details,
details, I need someone for that. Yes.
That's amazing. You're among the few producers or content creators in East Africa whose work has featured on Netflix.
Yes.
How did you get there? Did they come looking for you, or did you go looking?
Believe it or not, they came looking, but
Fantastic.
but after we had gone looking for them, when we started doing our films, we wanted to sell to them, and they didn't understand it. They watched it, they're like, we don't get what you guys are doing. You know, we were like, okay, that's cool. Let's, you know, you guys are going this way, let's go this way. And so we built our platform, we built our community, and they got wind of the noise. They were like, okay, these guys are doing something. And so they approached us and like, you know, can we get this film? We gave them the film, and the feedback was just, you know, we are probably amongst the few, if not the only ones, that the film actually brought in new subscriptions on their platform. Like, people get numbers. We have built a community that really loves our products, and so the minute Click Click Bang went on Netflix, they saw their subscriptions go up. Yeah.
Let's have a look at 6Qs. These will be quick questions. What is the best business advice you've ever received?
No one is coming to save you. So that means
You're on your own.
you're on your own.
Do
so
your best. Give it your all.
So you want to earn more, you have to learn more.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
What do you do as a hobby? If you do have any free time?
I go to the theaters a lot, to the cinemas a lot. Even when I got here, first day I
But
got
that's
here,
your work life.
I love what you said when you introduced me. You said,
Yeah.
I am a film lover and a filmmaker.
Mm-hmm.
I first fell in love with film before I became a filmmaker. So to date, I still enjoy going to the cinema. So day one, I landed in Kigali. I went to the Canal Plus. What is it called? The cinema.
Canal Olympia.
Yes.
Yes.
I watched Planet of the Apes there.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's your hobby.
Yes.
And then what does friendship mean to you?
Building each other up. And this means having very tough conversations. This means people, as friends, understanding the different seasons you're in and understanding life is not always like this. Sometimes you might go like this, then you convert some.
We'll meet.
Yeah, so for me, a friend is someone who builds me up and I equally build them up. Yeah.
And then what's your understanding of leadership? Understanding or definition of leadership?
I strongly believe a true leader creates an environment where you can be yourself.
Fantastic.
Yes. So if I was leading you, Jackie, my job is not to tell you, let's go that way. My job is to create this environment where you can create and then find your own path.
Wow.
Yeah. But the truth is, if I'm working with you, Jackie, it's because you're really good at something and I can never be as good as you are at what you do.
Yeah.
So I just need you, I need to give you the space to be you and to give me better.
Space to thrive.
Yeah.
And then is there something that annoys you generally about people?
Yes. I cannot stand people who look down on others. Yeah, for me that's a major pet peeve. Like if I walk in with you somewhere and you're rude to the security guard or the waiter,
Yeah.
immediately I cut you off. Immediately. I already know what type of person you are and I don't like that type of person.
And lastly, what would you say to 20-year-old Phil?
You are right for being serious with life. In my 20s, I was mocked a bit, made fun of a bit. Even to date, people still make fun of me. They say you're too serious with life. But seeing where I am right now, I am happy I made that decision
You're
too.
happy, you're serious.
Yes.
Like,
So I'd tell 20-year-old Phil,
yes,
continue with the same path.
you're on the right path.
You're on the right path.
Phil, thank you.
Thank you
It's
so
been
much.
such an honor sitting down with you. Thank you for honoring our invitation.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. I enjoyed myself. Thank you.
My pleasure. Our guest today was Philip Karanja, aka Phil Director. He's done an amazing job in content creation. You will look for Phil Director on YouTube to get more of what he has done. For me, it's been such an honor to bring his story to you, and I do hope that it has inspired you. If there's something you want to start off, please do. And if you're already in business, wondering how do I scale, pick those ideas, that the few tips that he has shared with us. If you're not easy at delegating, please do delegate. Also understand that you cannot be one person doing everything. Find people that complement your efforts. My name is Jackie Lumbasi. We will see